In this video, I'll be going over the setup process for an MFT Automation IP3 series friction feeder. I've selected generic CR80s as an example product. This is a manageable product that should feed well if we've set up the feeder correctly. I'm going to begin by powering on the machine. This is done by flipping a rocker switch on the back of the machine in the lower right-hand corner near where the power cord is connected. Once the software has completed booting up and the status off screen is visible on the display, I'm going to push the green on button in the upper left-hand corner, and that will complete the power on sequence. Based on the 55mm width of our example product, I have determined that a single 30mm feed belt track should be adequate to properly feed the product. As a general rule, the highest number of feed belts that can fit within the width of the product should be utilized for the most possible support and traction. Keep in mind that some clearance will be required along the left and right edges of the product for our magazine side plates to be positioned. The 30mm feed belt track is in an acceptable position, but I'll be moving the additional 20mm feed belt track off to the side to create additional clearance. I'm going to press the E-stop on the right-hand side of the feeder control panel. This is an important safety step and will also allow the drive shafts to rotate freely until the set screw in the downstream feed belt drive pulley is visible. Using a 2.5mm hex key, the set screw in the downstream drive pulley can be loosened, followed by the set screws in the upstream collars on either side of our idler pulley. And now the belt can be moved to the left or right as needed. Once the belt track is in the desired location, the same hex key can be used to tighten the downstream set screw against the flat portion of the shaft and to tighten the set screws in the guide collars as well. As a final step, release the feeder's E-stop by rotating the knob in a clockwise direction. Use the clear cancel button to clear the fault condition in the machine, and hold down the jog button to verify that the feed belt track is tracking correctly. The feeder already has a single 30mm stripper wheel positioned directly over our 30mm feed belt track, but again, I'll be moving the additional 20mm stripper wheel off to the side to create additional clearance. I'm going to rotate the shaft until the set screw for that stripper wheel is visible. Loosen it using the same 2.5mm hex key. I'm going to slide it off to the side and tighten into position. Notice that because this stripper wheel won't be used, it's being positioned off to the side of our feed belt track to prevent premature wear of both the feed belt and the stripper wheel. To set the vertical position of the stripper wheel height adjustment knob to the right of the user interface will be used to raise or lower the wheel. Position a single product between the stripper wheel and feed belt and raise or lower the stripper wheel to a position that will put light drag on that single product. A single product support rod should be adequate to support our example product, so the last part I'll be moving for clearance reasons will be the additional support rod off to the side. To move the support rod, loosen two M6 fasteners in the support rod holder bracket using a 4mm hex key. The support rod can then be moved to the side and tightened back into position using the same two fasteners. To adjust the height of the support rod, use a 3mm hex key to loosen the fasteners on each side of the support rod holder bracket. With those fasteners slightly loose, Position a single product beneath the product support rod for reference, and lower the rod to a height of just above the thickness of a single product. When the rod is set to the correct height, go ahead and tighten those fasteners back down to lock the rod in place. To reposition the magazine side plates, loosen the star knobs at the front of the side plate holder bracket assembly, and then the side plate can be moved freely across the infeed. In some cases, due to the additional parts interfering with the movement of that plate, the knobs and front plate of the holder bracket assembly may need to be removed completely so that the plate can be repositioned. With a single product placed on the feed belt for reference, move in the magazine side plates as tight as possible on the product without actually binding on the product and preventing it from flowing through the infeed. Use the star knobs on the front of the side plate holder assemblies to tighten the side plates into position. Add 2 to 3 inches of product to the machine to use for reference when setting up the support curve. If necessary, loosen the bolts at the base of the support curve on the right and left side to reposition the support curve so it's directly behind the product stack. Once centered, loosen the locking lever at the bottom and top of the support curve assembly and move it into position. Once the desired position is achieved, lock the support curve in place by retightening those locking levers. For this setup, discharge belt repositioning is not required, but if necessary, you would follow a similar process to the feed belt repositioning of engaging an E-stop, rotating the shaft to expose the set screw, which in this case will be behind the belt, loosening that set screw, and sliding left or right, and retightening the set screw into position. To adjust the height of the discharge entrance, use the knob on the far right of the interface just to the right of the stripper wheel height adjustment knob. Similar to setting the vertical position of the stripper wheels, we will place a single product between the upper and lower discharge belt pulleys for reference, and we will raise or lower the upper shaft until a light drag is achieved on a single product. Position a single product between the upper and lower discharge belts at the end of the machine to use for reference when doing the final height adjustment of the discharge exit. There's a knob on the left and right of the discharge exit that can be used to raise or lower the upper discharge exit roller. Again, we're raising and lowering that shaft until we have light drag on the product. Check multiple belt tracks to ensure that that exit roller has been adjusted squarely. Using the jog button that was mentioned earlier in the video, jog the machine until product is present just before the product sensor at the end of the feeder discharge. Using a 2mm hex key, move the emitter and receiver into a position in line with the most consistent portion of the product in terms of thickness and color. Align the bottom receiver with the emitter. Again, using the jog button, jog the machine until product is present between the emitter and receiver pair. Press the Set Product Thickness button on the keypad of the feeder. This will calibrate the product sensor to this specific product. From the main operator screen, press the menu button once to access main menu 1 of 2. Press the 1 button to select settings. Here we will enter the product length in the direction of travel. The product can be measured using our onboard scale, and and has a length of 86 millimeters. Using the keypad, enter 8, 6, and then press the Enter button to store the value for product length, and the Clear Cancel button to return to the operator screen. Feeder setup is now complete, and we're successfully feeding our example product. If you have any questions about a specific product or anything else that comes up, you're always welcome to reach out at 651-407-3100.